Hi, this is Maria Hernandez, and this is my channel called Autism Sibling Connections. I started this channel because basically I have a brother with autism that I've become his full-time caregiver, and I wanted to document and show you my journey on how I'm doing, how I started and how I'm doing now, because I know there's a lot of people out there that have, are going through the same thing, that have a brother with autism or a sister with autism, and they don't know what to do, where to start. I feel you on that because it happened to me. Well, let me start by saying that this channel, I will be recording videos. Excuse my stuttering. I'm used to being behind the camera. I'm not used to being in front of the camera. So I'm, trying to get myself used to it. So what I'm doing is I'm recording various videos, and these videos are going to provide a wealth of information that I have gathered in my 2+ years in trying to get services for my brother. Yes, 2+ years, because it's still ongoing with me. I also want participation from you, the viewers, on this channel. If you're going through the same thing I'm going through, if you know of anyone that has a brother or sister that is autistic, please reach out to me. I will answer whatever questions you have. I will also sit with you on, discussions regarding it, because it's very different when it's your sibling as opposed to being your child when it comes to getting them services. I'll explain more, in the coming videos regarding that. But first of all, let me tell you a little bit about Tommy. And I have these bullet points here that I'm using because it'll really help me to get through it, hopefully without stuttering. So, he's 10 years younger than Tommy. He's always been cared for. He was always cared for by our late mother. Our mother passed away a few years ago. She did everything for him. She, washed his clothes, cleaned his room, took care of him, doctor's appointments. She did it all. See, we grew up in the 60s and the 70s. He was born in the 70s. In the 70s, they didn't have really a diagnosis for autism like they do today. Back then, my brother was diagnosed as mentally disturbed. And that's something I discovered when I was finally able to get his school transcripts. And again, that's something that I'm going to explain to you, because there are so many steps that I had to take that I can't do it all in one video. So, when he was diagnosed as mentally disturbed, it was a jarring thing for me, because really? That's the only thing I could think of. Really? Mentally disturbed? But they didn't know about autism. I remember first time I heard autism and, being a diagnosis for my brother was a teenager, almost in his 20s, when he was finally properly diagnosed with autism. So there were very little resources in the 70s, and I couldn't really do much for him because my mother didn't have the resources. So my mother thought the best thing to do was just to keep him at home, care for him, and her mentality was, if I'm going to take care of him forever, and if I don't, you will. And that I realized that even up to today, a lot of parents have that mentality. I don't want, I don't want him to have any services or anything. I'll take care of him. And what that does is that it hinders that adult or child's ability to grow. And that's, unfortunately, that's what happened with my brother. Years later, my mom was for many years saying, no, I don't want to, do this. I don't want him to go to any programs. I don't want him to do anything like that. I will take care of him. But what my mother didn't realize was she was getting older. She already had him at an older age. She was like 42 when she gave birth to my brother. She was getting older. And as she got older, she was taking care of him more and her less. As a result of that, later on, we found out she developed dementia. That was by the time we found out about her dementia, Tommy was already an adult, didn't have much resources, didn't have, any programs or to go to or anything like that. He basically couldn't do a lot for himself. I worked full time. At the time, I was in a marriage, and it was hard for me to balance the two. But I was able to care for my mom and care for my brother. It was difficult for me, but I did what I had to do. So I had to assume more of the role of caring for Tommy as her dementia declined. I reached out everywhere. I reached out to so many people, as I said in my previous video, and it was really, really, really crazy because I wasn't getting any answers from them. So one of the things, and I'm sorry if I did a pause there, because the thing is this: when you're a sibling, you really don't have the authority to do much with your sibling. And I don't think parents realize that. They figure, you know what, that's your brother, don't worry about it. You can take care of them. But when my mother passed away and I had to do it full time, whereas I had to start from scratch with my brother. That's what I'm trying to say. I had to start from scratch. I had to, first of all, when I called the agencies here in New York, in order to be approved, for services, they have to be, the individual has to be approved through the state, through OPWDD. These are all information that I'm definitely going to go more in depth in the upcoming videos, because there were steps that I had to take, and I want to break them down. But he didn't have that code, so now I'm calling the state, and I'm calling so many places at the same time. I'm trying to work. At that time, and by that time, I wasn't in the relationship anymore, in the marriage. So I was basically trying to take care of my home and take care of where he lived at. Now I'm 62, my brother is 51. And I don't know how I did it, but I did my best as best I could. So basically that's it with my story. I don't want I want to start, I did this tape, and I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. I did this tape because I recorded this tape because I want to give you a little bit of my background, so that way you can, you can understand how I got to this point with my brother. So I'm going to be doing a series of recordings. The recordings, each recording is going to be categorized on the steps that I had to take. The first one that I'm going to do, the next one that I will be doing, I'm going to also provide information. I'm going to provide information on the agencies that I was able to get in contact, and the agencies that were able to take care of me and were able to give me the information that I needed, because there are like so many layers that we had to uncover. And if you think that it's going to be easy, it's not. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Because when a sibling has autism, we are all they have. That's it. Especially if a parent passes away, or if a parent has to be put away, we're all they have. And there isn't much out there as to advocate for autism. At least I don't see it here in New York. I don't know. Please let me know, how is it in your state when it comes to services for autistic adults? Because honestly, they really, it's really, really difficult over here. Anyway, I'm going to be talking in my next tape about the beginning. I'm going to be talking about where I went to, what tests needed to be done, what steps needed to go in order for my brother to start the process. As I said, it's still ongoing. So I'm very happy that you have come on to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Sorry if I ramble a little bit. I will get better. I said it the last time, and I'm going to say it here. I will get better. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day. We'll talk on the next one. Bye.